So Penn State swept Minnesota last week to get home ice for this weekend, and now the Gophers are back in town for the first round of the Big Ten tournament. Dylan, what storyline are you most excited to follow?
I mean, the one thing last weekend for Minnesota was that they did not get enough offensive production from their star players. Penn State was able to do a great job of shutting down the Gophers' top stars like Rem Pitlick and Casey Millstat. Pitlick in particular was a Penn State killer last season at 10 points in 5 games against the Nittany Lions last year. He did not record a point this past weekend. So Penn State was doing an excellent job of shutting down those players.
Yeah, one of the ways they were able to do that, they got complete production from all 4 lines and all 3 pairings. It was really the first time I think I've seen that all year. That 4th line in particular, Nikita Pavlichev, James Robinson, Sam Sternshine. They were all, Sternshine's not a guy who's really known for his defensive play, but they were really spectacular all week long. It was just a complete performance. And of course the 3rd line with Barrett, Limoges, and Folks went off. Ben, back-ending all of that was the success of Peyton Jones.
Yeah, Peyton Jones, he's going to be really someone to watch this weekend. Penn State's success, he really shows up in big moments for this Penn State team, and their success can really depend on how he plays. There have been multiple times this season where he's played an insane game, and Penn State has come out victorious, and there's been times where he has not played well and Penn State has struggled. So he's really someone to watch this weekend against Minnesota, especially when they have those stars on their offensive end.
All right, so DJ, who are you taking this weekend and why?
I'm taking Penn State to win the series in 3 games. Just look at the way that Penn State played last weekend against Minnesota. I just can't see a week later Minnesota come in and win 2 out of 3 against Penn State at Pagula. It's just they had their best weekend in the entire season. It was their most complete effort of the season. All 4 lines of offense, all 3 lines of defense were playing well. I think Minnesota, they have too much skill and they're going to steal a game, but I think Penn State in the end takes them 3.
I'm also going with Penn State in 3. It's weird because Penn State has really struggled against Minnesota historically because Penn State didn't really have, I guess, the skill to keep up with Minnesota. But now they've got the skill and they've still got that same physical presence that they had before, and it just presents all sorts of problems for Minnesota. Ryan Lindgren I was talking to a Minnesota reporter, Drew Cove, earlier this week, and he said that Lindgren is described as a bulldog. He's a guy who loves that physical side of the game, but Evan Barrett just straight up embarrassed him last weekend. Minnesota really struggled to keep up with that physicality and mental toughness area of the game, and I don't know if they can do it for 3 games. We saw Penn State play 13 periods in 3 games in the Big Ten tournament, 3 days, in the Big Ten tournament last year. And, I just think that they have the edge when it comes to a 3-game series.
I'm going to have to disagree with you guys. I think Minnesota wins this one in 3 games. It's going to be a different Minnesota team than everyone saw last weekend. They did not play well last weekend. Matt Robson really struggled in the net. He'll be much better this weekend. This whole team will be much more comfortable at Pagula Ice Arena this weekend after playing a series there last weekend. And the biggest thing is Penn State, this was their first ever series win over Minnesota. In order to advance to the next round, they would have to win 4 of their last 5 games against the Golden Gophers. And I just don't think Penn State can do that. They have not been consistent enough this year for me to have faith in them to win 2 out of 3 this weekend.
They have been consistent against the Gophers, though. They've gotten 3 out of 4 wins against them, and they've looked like the better team in pretty much every period they've played against them.
Minnesota will be a better team this weekend.
They gave a better effort last Saturday, and Penn State was still there for it. Okay, so Ben, we'll start with you. Since you don't have Penn State advancing past this round, who's your tournament winner and why?
So Notre Dame's going to win the tournament. They're going to do the sweep of the Big Ten regular season and the Big Ten tournament championship. In their first season in the Big Ten, they won their first 13 games in conference play this season. That is unreal. And they have been struggling as of late. Lost to Michigan State at home last weekend. But this Notre Dame team, with the bye week, they'll get healthy, they'll rest up, and they'll have home ice throughout the tournament. It's going to be so hard to go into there and beat Notre Dame. So I think that they're going to win this Big Ten tournament. They will face Michigan in the championship. Michigan is one of the hottest teams in the country. They will upset Ohio State and make it there to meet with Notre Dame.
Yeah, I've also got Michigan in my championship game playing against Penn State, but Michigan is going to be my eventual champion just because Penn State hasn't won at Yost Ice Arena in 7 games. James Robinson and Eric Audio are the only Penn State players who have experienced a win in that arena, which is just a pretty remarkable stat. Penn State, I like their odds against Notre Dame and Ohio State, frankly. They've been very good against Ohio State this year, of course, winning 2 games, taking another in a shootout, and then dropping the last one at Pagula Ice Arena. Notre Dame, they battled them tough all year long. It was just a discrepancy in goaltending, really. Peyton Jones struggled against Notre Dame all year long, while Cale Morris just straight up stole the 2 games here at Pagula Ice Arena. I don't know. Even if Jones can just step up a little bit, then all of a sudden Penn State is a completely different team against Notre Dame. I just can't have them winning at all, considering their woes at Yost.
I'm going to agree with Ben on this one, and I think Notre Dame is going to win the Big Ten. Like Ben said, the start of the season they had, while they have been struggling, they still have one of the best goaltenders in the entire country in Cale Morris. But I think Notre Dame gets the win in the championship over Ohio State. I think Ohio State beats Michigan in Columbus. Again, phenomenal player, the goaltender Tommy Napier. Tanner Wazinski is one of the top forwards in the Big Ten. And Michigan has struggled against Ohio State this season. They have not beaten them in 4 tries. So I think Ohio State will get a win over Michigan and then go on to the finals before falling to Notre Dame. I think Penn State will fall to Notre Dame next week in the semifinals. Just tough to beat Cale Morris. He's one of the best goalies in the country, and Penn State was unable to do that this entire season. And until I can see them put pucks past him, then it's going to be tough to beat him in a playoff game.